Due to the graphic nature of this program, viewer discretion is advised.
This video is not intended for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.
In the first age, in the first battle, when the shadows first lengthened, one stood. He chose the path of perpetual torment. In his ravenous hatred, he found no peace, and with boiling blood, he scoured the unknown plains, seeking vengeance against the Dark Lords who had wronged him. And those that tasted the bite of his sword named him
Stone Cold Loki. Humanity, look how far you've fallen.
And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Mornings of Mischief. I'm your host, Stone Loki, and today I have two wonderful, awesome guests. First, we have the one, the only, the former Josh and Rebecca Momini Project Storytime.
Did you just dead name me? I must read now. I must read now. I will quietly re. There we go.
Second, we have one half of Tag Team Echo Base, Coach from Echo Base. How you doing, brother?
It's the good half. Hail to the chat and hail yeah.
Every Schwartz has a plus and a minus. This is the plus.
I see your Schwartz is as long as mine.
I'm so glad they captured the guy that punched Rick Moranis.
Oh yes.
So happy they did that.
I couldn't believe that. I was like, they're never going to find that guy. 2 weeks later, we found the guy. We found him. Ladies and gentlemen. So, guys, we are here to talk about why do you love Star Wars? And we're going to talk to the chat about why they love Star Wars. And we're going to talk about why we love Star Wars or why you don't love Star Wars. You might not love Star Wars anymore. You might be like, to hell with Star Wars. But first, before we get to that, good morning, Jester of Sin, Darth Haster, Chris Persia, the Wrench of Wrenches is here. Colin P. Smith, Derek McManus, Lady Miss, the Guardian of the Void is here. Broken Entertainment, Psychodorf 9, Dee Myers, Samantha Joe. Good morning, Samantha Joe. We have got the Star Wars Nerd 101. Good morning, Adega, Outlaw, the Doctor of Disaster and Destruction. Naughty Monkey Orap, and he is a naughty monkey. Good morning, guys. Eris of Chaos, the Battle Angel, is here. Good morning, Eris. Gun Bunny, how you doing? Philip Demick. Good morning, Philip. Gun Bunny, what's up, Gun Bunny? How are you guys doing this morning? We are 1 day away, just 1 day away from Thanksgiving, where we give our thanks. Captain Trek, good morning, Cap. How are you doing, brother? Kip Ellis, good morning. Mountains of Elysium, greetings, brother. Bird of Prey 5 is here. Comply, Bird. How are you doing, brother? Hail Karoga. Kip Ellis, good morning. So, guys, Star Wars. Almost sounded like a Dukes of Hazzard horn there for a second.
I was thinking mariachi band, but yeah.
Where's Mexican Iron Man?
Yeah.
Go down to Mexico, see a donkey show. Da, na, 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 na. Oh, did I say that? Shit. Positive Candor, good morning. Mark Dampingly Tired. Yes, not Ryan Johnson. We are here to talk about Star Wars. All things we, love or don't love about Star Wars. And I just guested on Echo Base the other night, and we did a little collab on a couple of videos. That was so fun. It was so fun talking about Yoda and the Mandalorian, and I love Mandalorians. I love the history of the Mandalorians. What do you guys? We'll start out with Josh. What do you love about Star Wars?
Well, from the basic like archetypes and everything, just it's a very, very simple story of good versus evil, and with very relatable and fun characters. And that's what made me fall in love with it way back when I was a kid. So
kind of like me and Echo Base versus Mexican Iron Man. Good versus evil, yin versus yang, funny characters.
Yeah, it's not a complicated story.
So you got the white hats and you got the black hats, and Darth Vader is definitely the black hat, and
yes,
good and evil. Yeah, I totally see that. What about you, Coach?
Well, Star Wars grabbed me at such a young age, like all of us, pretty much. I tell the story over at our channel several times. In my city, Decatur, Alabama, we had our very first VHS rental store open up in 1984. I had never been in a VHS rental store before, had no clue. And my parents put me in the car, and we took off as a family to the store. It was called Video Express. And when we got there, I walked in and I was amazed by, this is back in the day when the entire store was nothing but tapes. And in the front of every tape was the box cover.
Yep.
It's majestic. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it in the world. That's why people today have they turn their basements into a VHS rental store just for the nostalgia of it all. So my parents, my mother said that I could go pick out one movie myself. And this is back in the time when your parents would just let you go and roam. I'm 4 years old. I'm walking around the store by myself like I own the place. Because this is back when the world was safe. And I'm walking around and I see the red label CBS Star Wars box with Luke holding the lightsaber up above his head and Leia on his side and all that. And if you hear my dogs howling, they're like, "Get me out of this damn crate." I'm sorry, guys. I'll go get them out in a second. I already fed you. Shut up. All right. So, anyways, I was drawn to that box, and I grabbed it. I took it to Mom, and I said, "Mom, this is the one that I want." And she said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes." So we go home, and I watch it, and I was instantly hooked. I was hooked on Luke Skywalker. I was hooked on the bad guys. I was hooked on different planets. I was hooked on the space battle. I was hooked on being able to fly in an X-Wing. I was hooked on the music. I was hooked on Darth Vader. I was hooked on the crawl, even though I couldn't read the shit. It was just amazing. And a couple weeks later, my grandmother came over and stayed at the house. It was wintertime. I remember it like it was yesterday. And we recorded The Empire Strikes Back, and I watched it for the first time. Oh my gosh. Yoda? Are you freaking serious? Luke is fighting Darth Vader? And then the story goes on and on and on, guys. And here's what took Star Wars to a whole nother level when you're a child and you're 4 years old. It's toys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was able to create my own. I was able to create my own movies.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to use my imagination. I remember when I was in the first grade, my teacher started yelling at me because I quit listening to her boring lesson, and I drew an X-Wing on my desk. And I was sitting there. I was sitting there daydreaming that I could just go walk out right outside the school, get an X-Wing, and fly home and get away. Ironically, I'm a teacher today. But anyways, it just grabbed me like nothing else. And Star Wars is one of those things. We all have things in our lives that we love and we have special memories. But over time, those things fade. And many of those things don't come back. You know, G.I. Joe really didn't come back for me.
No.
I loved it as a kid, but it really didn't come back. Transformers came back occasionally. Star Wars always comes back. You could go a year without watching it. You could go a year without appreciating it, but it'll come back strong on you like nothing else. And Loki, I'll finish my little rant up right here. Another reason I love Star Wars right now, it's not because what Disney's done, obviously. It's not because of the sequel trilogy. It's not because of the SJW pandering. It's because without it, I wouldn't be here with you guys. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now in our community without Star Wars, because it's what has brought us together.
It's true. I completely agree. And I'd like to welcome Fenrir Fire back to the membership. Thank you for rejoining Loki's army, Fenrir. Thank you so very much. And we're going to throw you some Gojira, brother. Skull! Thank you so very much, Fenrir Fire, for rejoining the membership. You know, I can remember the first time I saw Darth Vader. I can remember the first time I saw Empire. And I can remember the first movie I ever saw in a movie theater was Return of the Jedi. It's the first one I remember. Might not have been the first one I ever saw, but it's the first one I remember. And I remember when, you know, the rebels get captured and they're going to go get 3PO and R2 and the Ewoks, man. I mean, you can feel however you want to about the Ewoks, but when those little bastards popped out of the bushes, woo, 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 I was jumping up and down in my seat in the theater, screaming, and I remember my dad grabbing me, you know, and like shush, shush, shush. You know,
I remember being so sad when the one blast like hits near those two Ewoks and the one doesn't get back up and the other one's like crying over his friend. I remember being so sad about that as a kid.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, wake up, wake up, wake up. And you're like, oh, dude, that's so messed up. Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, you care.
Yeah.
You care. When R2 gets shot, dude, I knew R2 was going to be okay, you know, as a kid. And I'm still like, you know, upset that they got R2. And you care about these. You care about them. You care about Yoda. You care about Luke. You care about Han and Leia. You know, you care about these characters. And later in life, it was all about the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all about Vader. It's all about Boba Fett. He's not worth anything to me dead. You know, the Empire will compensate you if he dies. Put him in. It's all about the evilness of it all. You know, you want this, don't you?
It's just something that's so awesome because it always takes us back. It takes us back. When we watch it, we get recaptured every single time. As you guys sit here and talk about it, I'm going to go watch the original trilogy today.
Yeah.
I got nothing going on. My wife's going to be cooking Thanksgiving dinner. She does not want me helping. I get in the way. So we're going to have a binge watch today. It's definitely happening.
Star Wars.
And it's just something that brings people together. Like, Loki, you already know this, but Josh, me and Nick are best friends because of Star Wars. I hated his freaking guts before I realized he was a Star Wars fan. And here's how that happened. Loki, I'm not trying to. This isn't the Echo Base Takeover. I'll be quick.
No. Go ahead. That's what we're here for.
So we're in the 7th grade. I got this little girlfriend, and Nick liked her, and Nick would flirt with her, and I was like the athlete at school. I was the basketball player. And
chest beating. Oh,
yeah. So me and Nick had this class together. Well, I would wad up paper balls and throw them at him. And I was a good guy, so I wasn't going to be too direct about I don't like you. But he knew I didn't like him. He knew it. And one day I'm walking to the garbage can in class and to throw something away, and he is sitting at his desk with a Star Wars book on it. And this is 1992. This is when we were keeping Star Wars alive because it was dying.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at him, and it was a moment where Star Wars came back to me immediately. Like I probably hadn't seen it in a long time. Like a year or two, definitely wasn't playing with the toys anymore. I was an athlete. I was all about basketball at that time. But when I saw that book, it immediately brought me back to loving it. And I looked at Nick and I said, dude, you like Star Wars? Like I was shocked because I didn't like him at all. And he looks at me and he said, yeah, I love it. And I said, for real? And me and him started talking, and I swear, guys, like 3 days later, we're best friends, and we've been best friends ever since. We actually would talk on the phone and hit play on the VHS tape at the same time, and we would take turns muting our TVs so we could listen to it through the other.
Oh my God!
Into
early
the
watch party right there.
Yeah, we were having watch parties in '92. And talking about it. And he came and spent the night, and we played Super Star Wars on the Super Nintendo. It was brand new at the time. We went through the whole game and beat it. We started playing with toys again. We were in the 7th grade. We hadn't played with toys in years. And because our friendship brought us back to Star Wars hard. We started going to cons. We started traveling the United States, going to different toy shows. We took a road trip from Alabama to Cincinnati, Ohio to go visit the Earth Collectible Toy Mall because it was like walking into a store in 1983. They had Star Wars on the card everywhere for sale. And it was just amazing. It just went on and on and on through college, through being young adults. And Star Wars is the reason we have our channel. It's the reason that we have a friendship. It's what me and Nick talk about. And a lot of people talk about Star Wars as an escape from reality. It's part of our reality. It's not an escape.
When I've got a friend a lot like Coach, guys. If you've seen Bartleby in chat in the mornings, Bartleby and me met in the 2nd grade. We beat the shit out of each other one day. And then when we were like, why don't we just, be friends? We're cool. We kick the shit out of each other now. We're cool with each other. And that friendship has lasted since then. My dad used to say, you and him share the same brain. You got one side and he got the other side. But we went and saw all the prequels together. And we got to Revenge of the Sith at noon. The night it came out at midnight. We were at the theater at noon. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Loki had all the badass Star Wars toys when we were kids. I remember being a kid and walking into a literal Star Wars toy heaven. And even later when we were teenagers, I had a shelf that I had Yoda. I had the Jawa with the cloth, not the like rubber vinyl hoodie thing, but the cloth. I had Luke with the cloth. I had all my Star Wars figures still up on like a shelf. And but we always love Star Wars. We always love Star Wars. Chris got the dirty side. Yeah. Bartleby got the dirty side. I got the good side. He got the dirty side. So there are two sides to every Schwartz. That's what we were talking about earlier. Coach got the plus side, and Nick got the minus side. But it's the same. It's the exact same. It's the exact same thing. We love Star Wars. We love Star Wars. We grew up talking about Star Wars. I used to always say if I was anybody in Star Wars, I would be Chewie. And people would be like, why the hell would you be Chewie? Because Chewie gets to run around with Han. Well, don't you want to be Han? No, I don't want to be Han. I want to be the guy running around with Han. Because Han was the coolest character in the movies. He was the coolest damn character in the movies. I want to run around with the coolest guy in the movies.
That's right.
Shit. So why be Han when you could run around with actual Han Solo and co-pilot the Millennium Falcon and yell at him? Ah! Chat, why do you guys love Star Wars? Why do you love Star Wars? This isn't just about us. And good morning, Rosetta. Good morning, Bartleby, Nancy. Good morning, guys. Eastland Burkholder, everybody coming in late. Good morning. Why do you guys love Star Wars? Throw us out why you love Star Wars. This is kind of inspired by Echo Base being here. Are there any rumors while we've got this going on? Any rumors, Coach, you would like to share with us? Because I know, you keep close to the Star Wars rumors.
So yeah, we did a video. Some of you saw it. The rumor is with The Mandalorian that the next story arc is going to be the search for Luke Skywalker. That Mando and the child are going to go find Ahsoka in the next episode. And the next episode is actually titled The Jedi. Well, Ahsoka's not the Jedi because we all know that she never became one. She was a Padawan only, and then she left the Order. So Ahsoka is going to explain to Mando that for him to do what he needs to do with the child, he has to take the child to Luke Skywalker, the Jedi. He's the Jedi. So Mando is going to go on a quest, and Ahsoka is going to go with him, and they're going to go find Luke. And the theory goes that they're going to find Luke on Dagobah, training by himself. He's 28 years old. This is after Jedi. At the end of Return of the Jedi, Luke was 23. And now this is 5 years later. He's 28 years old. Yoda's gone, but he is there where he trained before. It's kind of like if I want to go shoot basketball, I want to go to the house I grew up at because that's my court.
Yep.
That's where I got better. That's home. And that's what Luke wants to do. Luke wants to go to Dagobah to polish his skills even further, to become more powerful. And so that's actually considered not a theory. That is inside sources telling WeGotThisCovered.com. They're not revealing their sources, but that's what they're saying. And then it goes further with a fan theory. Thundercats Ho, one of our people, sent me a message and goes, "Hey, I've got a theory about that." And then he laid it out, and I was like, oh my freaking gosh, that makes total sense. And the theory is that Ahsoka is going to stay on Dagobah with Luke to complete her training. Now, you may think that's backwards, and I understand if you do. It took me a second to come to grips with it myself, because Ahsoka is 20 years older than Luke. But Luke Skywalker was trained by Yoda. By Yoda, not a young Jedi Knight, Anakin Skywalker. Luke was trained by Yoda. Luke was trained in a super fast way, but Luke's also been training solo by himself for 5 years, and you don't know how much he's been visited by Force ghosts on Dagobah training. And we also know that Disney made it canon that Luke Skywalker at the Battle of Jakku brought down a Star Destroyer with the Force. Ahsoka can't do that. So she's going to stay with Luke on Dagobah to complete her training, and who knows what Disney will do after that. And Loki, I'm going to tell you, if they do this, this is one giant step towards fixing what we love. Because right now, I've got Star Wars compartmentalized. Star Wars that I love, and then Disney Star Wars. And they're two different galaxies.
Yeah, they are. What do you think about that, Josh?
It sounds very promising, but so does everything on paper, and I don't know if I trust them to be able to pull it off. That's the thing. It could work. It absolutely could work. But they have demonstrated time and time again that they can take ideas, solid ideas, and just not do anything with them. I mean, look at Finn, for instance. Finn had one of the most potential for a great character story, that a stormtrooper who's force sensitive and becoming a Jedi and learning to deal with that. There was so much promise there, and then nothing. He screamed Rey the rest of the series.
Yeah.
So I don't. It has promise, but they need to prove that they can pull things off again. They no longer get the benefit of the doubt with me anymore.
No, I understand that. And if you believe the rumors surrounding the Mandalorian right now, Pedro Pascal, obviously there's rumors that he had a problem with the mask. He's tired of wearing the mask. He had a conniption fit about the mask. He went to multiple people. But one of the really interesting things in this all that is coming from multiple different sources is that Pedro knew better than to go to Kathleen Kennedy. That he went to Favreau. He went to who's the guy that was in Clone Wars that did all the stuff for Filoni? He went to Filoni. He talked to George Lucas, trying to find some way to subvert the lore, but he knew better than to go to KK because she is under orders not to directly interfere with Favreau and the vision of the Mandalorian. Is she handcuffed from directly influencing the Mandalorian and saying, well, I want this to happen? Has she been handcuffed by Disney? And if that's true, then Favreau can pretty much do whatever he wants to. She can maybe make a suggestion, but she can't say, no, you're not doing that. She can't say you need to do this. She can't say you need to take the story in this direction. All she can do is sit back and make suggestions at a meeting. That's it.
Well, so you think she's just a figurehead at this point?
I think that she's been told to not meddle and insert agenda, that they need to make money off of Star Wars.
Well, that's interesting, Loki. The other day when you were on the show, you made a statement, and I was shocked. I actually talked about it yesterday in a random live stream that I did. I did a live stream making Mexican Iron Man and self contemplations with you, and me and the chat made it together live. It was hilarious. But one thing that you did when we talked about that theory and we talked about the return of Luke Skywalker in a heroic capacity, not what we got in the sequel trilogy, but actually being a hero.
Yeah.
You said, if they do this, Star Wars is back.
Yep.
That's your exact words. I think no matter what Kathy Kennedy's role has been, whatever we want to say, I think there has been the craziest disconnect between Disney and the fans regarding Luke Skywalker from 2012 to The Last Jedi.
Yes.
And I think once we got there, I think Disney knows now. They know. So here's my hope. This is like we're down 1 point at the end of the game, and I called a timeout. We got one shot left. There's 7 seconds on the clock. That's how I feel with this right now. And we need Luke Skywalker for the win. If we get him in a heroic capacity and they pull it off, then that's not fan service. That's them fixing Star Wars. I can't imagine how this disconnect occurred. They didn't think Luke Skywalker was a big deal. And you missed the whole thing. For the majority of fans, Luke is our Superman. It's about...
was it KK that kept... I'm sorry. But wasn't it KK that kept saying... because the original first draft, wasn't it mostly about like searching for Luke Skywalker, and they realized the parts with him was too interesting and it was taking time away from all the new characters?
Yes.
And so it was KK that kept pushing it back?
That's right.
Yes.
It's like that's so stupid.
And if you look at what JJ wanted to do, and obviously we didn't get this, but if you look at what JJ wanted to do compared to what Ruin did, look at the clothes Luke's wearing. Look at the Jedi Master's robe that Luke is wearing at the end of The Force Awakens compared to the like hobo wear that Ryan had him in. Because I mean, Ryan literally put him in like hobo clothes. He's got these Jedi Master robes, and he's standing out on this island looking over the water. He turns around. He sees Rey after she climbs the 1,000 steps to the Shaolin Master's dojo. And then he goes and takes off the Jedi Master's robes and puts hobo clothes on and is a hobo for the rest
I'll
of
be right back. Gotta change.
You know, that's so funny you say it like that, because I have to imagine that J.J. Abrams didn't even know what was about to happen. J.J. Abrams did, we didn't get Luke in the movie like we wanted. I wanted the movie to be about Luke and then hand it off. Like, let's make the first movie at least about the original cast, whatever, or have them have a much bigger role, reunited on screen. I thought it was going to be about them. So it was really...
you see Han. You see Han and Chewie. Chewie, we're home. And you're like, yeah!
I was so excited in the trailer when I saw that.
That's the greatest moment of any movie trailer I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was standing there frozen in shock. Because Star Wars was back. Like real Star Wars. What we'd always wanted. So JJ actually gave us, if Luke cannot be in the film, if Luke can't have a speaking part, if this is the story, and that's what it has to be, then JJ Abrams did something really good at the end of the movie. That scene, I was totally fooled, because that scene was so awesome to me.
Yeah.
I was sitting there going, oh, the next movie, it's on, cuz. Our hero is back. Oh my gosh. He's going to be whooping tail.
The Force Awakens, I'm sorry. But The Force Awakens has a lot of problems, but the way it ended, there was still potential for the story to continue. And like, okay, they've done all the backstory. They've set things up. Harrison Ford never wanted to come back in the first place, so okay, whatever. Now you've set things up, and now we can actually tell a good story. And then Rian Johnson came in and
that's right.
Ruined everything. Like, I remember at the end of The Force Awakens, I was speculating, okay, what can they do? What are they going to do with this? Who's Rey going to end up? Is Rey Luke's daughter or whatever? I was doing all this speculation and everything. At the end of The Last Jedi, I was, where the hell do you go with this? There's nothing to build off of.
No.
Yeah. Well, there's 3 words that a lot of people have trouble with in life, and it's, I was wrong, or I'm sorry. People have a hard time getting that out.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy Kennedy, obviously wrong. Disney knows this. If they don't fix Luke in the next little bit, this is like, if you're watching the stock market, there's going to be a huge drop-off. You've built a little momentum with The Mandalorian. You dangled it in front of us. You got us back a little bit. You're giving us Ahsoka, but Ahsoka ain't Luke. I love Ahsoka. Don't get me wrong. I love Ahsoka. This is good for Star Wars. But my God, if you don't give us something with Luke, you're losing us.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people felt that way after Ruin got his hands on the trilogy. You know, I talk about that last scene in The Force Awakens. I talk about her climbing the steps. Go to Kill Bill when she's about to go and learn under Pai Mei, and Bill tells her, "You're gonna hate those fucking steps. You're gonna be carrying buckets of water up those steps, and you're gonna fucking hate it." That's what I expected. I expected her to almost in a way hate that he is going to work her ass so hard in the time they have together that why do I have to keep doing this? Why do I have to, and almost that he is the Yoda. You're going to do it because I'm going to tell you, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Don't ask why, just do it. Don't do or do not. There is no try. Don't ask why. Just do it because I'm telling you to do it. You will understand eventually. But you go and you train, and there was no training. There was green booby milk and stupid sticks that went into the water. And I'm a failure. I was always a failure.
The Jedi were wrong. Yeah.
The Jedi were wrong. And Rian Johnson sitting back laughing, saying, "I subverted your expectations." Ha 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 ha.
Well, you most certainly did, because I was expecting a good movie, but I get you subverted that.
And Derek McManus, do it, do it. You want this.
And you've got a good comment from Eastland Burkholder. Eastland says, too late, they killed the franchise. And I know a lot of people feel that way. And right now, it's dead. I agree with you. There's such little life that I get it. I get your point. But if my eyes see a heroic Luke and they pull that off, it's just like we were saying earlier. Star Wars can bring you back instantly. No matter how long you go without watching it, it pulls you back. You see a comic book, you hear a music, you see a commercial, a game. I could go back and play Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2.
That's a great one.
It pulls me back. I could plug up my N64 and play Shadows of the Empire. It pulls me back. And it's nostalgia like nothing else. And if they do this with Luke, I understand the people who say it's dead and it's too late, but not to me. If they do that, it is back. But they got to do it. That's the only recipe to truly fix this. And they better do it quickly. Now I'm not even getting into the whole is it going to be Mark Hamill? I don't like his politics. He's gone off the ledge. I don't care anything about that. Mark Hamill is an extremely good actor. I don't get into his whole politics either. I don't dig him at all. He is kind of wild. But remember, folks, he did not like what they did with Luke. I'm sure he would be thrilled in having a part of having it fixed.
Oh, I mean, you can see it in the premiere when he's like coming out of the theater. He looks stunned at what happened.
It's I remember playing through, since Coach brought up video games, I remember playing through Knights of the Old Republic and putting all the pieces of the Mandalorians together.
Yep.
And realizing that Jango and Bubba are part of a huge world we have never seen.
Mm-hmm. I remember doing that too, Loki.
That these Mandalorians fought Jedi. They killed Jedi.
Almost won, too.
And almost won. They almost took down the Old Republic. If it wasn't for Revan and a group of rogue Jedi that went off to fight a war they weren't supposed to, they would have the Mandalorians would have taken over the Republic. They would own all of that space that the Republic had. They would have taken it out. They would have taken the Republic out. They would be in charge. And then you realize that these clones, and this was the greatest screwball way to look at this. The Emperor made an army of Jedi killers.
Mm-hmm.
An army. All the clones, all those clone troopers that were fighting and watching the Jedi and learning how they did things. That was his win. I'm going to make an army that can kill Jedi. And I'm going to take out the Jedi. Mm-hmm. When they least expect it, their own troops are going to initiate Order 66. They're going to turn on the Jedi and they're going to take out my opponent for me. I cannot fight all of the Jedi in the galaxy. He couldn't. Mace almost took him down. Mace, because of, God, what's his style? What's the name of his style? I know his style because the style that Mace used.
Purple style.
I'll know it here.
Purple Rain.
But the style that he used fed off of his attacker's emotions. It's Form 7. Vapid. Vapid is the lightsaber style that Mace Windu used. And he was one of the few Jedi that knew that. Yoda didn't even practice this style because it fed off the emotions of your enemy. You used your enemy's emotions against them to empower you in the Force. And it was like a balancing act. You can't take in too much bad. You want to know why Mace Windu was like, he's too dangerous to be left alive, and he was going to kill him? Because Mace was pulling in all that dark side anger and emotion to supercharge him in his battle against the Emperor. So in that moment, I had to explain that to my father because he's like, bullshit, Mace wouldn't do that. I'm like, Dad, you don't understand. It's vapid. It's his lightsaber style. It's the way he uses the Force to like supercharge him like a damn super battery. He's pulling in all that anger and all that hatred and using it to power his lightsaber style. He's like, well, Jedi don't do that. I was like, well, it wasn't originally a Jedi style. It was a Sith. How the hell do you know that? Read this book. Read this book. And he loved the Star Wars books as much as I did. But that force of Mandalorians, that was brilliant. When you see all those troopers and it's like dun 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 dun, and they're all going into their ships. Yeah, copyright. And they're all marching. All those clone troopers are marching. That's a Mandalorian army that used to kill Jedi. That's brilliant. That is fucking brilliant that the Emperor did that.
Mm-hmm.
You can say whatever you want about Lucas.
So they brought him back for the next movie, right? Because for Rise of Skywalker, it was so important that we brought back the Emperor.
It'd been done.
I know.
It had been done.
I know. And it done far superior in the books.
Yes. And in the comics.
Yep.
The resurrection of the Emperor and the fact that he had clone bodies made and all of that was done far superior in the books and in the comics.
Oh, it's a dad in the Force. I've regrown my fingers. Okay.
Oh shit! It's glorious the plan, and then you get into the plan of the sequel trilogy, and they didn't have that. That glorious revelation, those revelations, those things you see. You know, the revelation of the clone army to me was just as important as I am your father. No, I am your father. It was just as important. And Purple Valkyrie, I love Star Wars because it brings people together. You express your fandom by watching the movies, creating cosplay, or by talking about it online. There's always a way to connect with other fans. And I completely agree with that.
here we are keeping it alive still.
And positive candor, I thought that the Timothy Zahn trilogy should have been what they used for the next movies. They were in a position where both the cast was too old to do that.
Yep.
Leia was pregnant with the twins, her first children, when the Thrawn trilogy happened, or she had just had them. Had she just had him, or?
I think she was still pregnant.
Okay. And Luke hadn't even started his Jedi Academy then.
Right.
You know what? That would be one hell of an animated series.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely, if they could find a way to do that.
You know how badly I want to see Kyle Katarn on the big screen?
Oh, that's... I was about to say... that's so crazy. I was about to say... Shadows of the Empire would be as well.
Well, you did see
Yeah.
you did see Kyle Katarn. Her name was Jyn Orso.
Oh, yeah, that's true. This is one
I
of
know
the
it was
reasons.
Dash Rendar in Shadows, but Kyle Katarn is right there. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
I want
great.
to show you guys something. I'm going to show you guys something, and this will be one of those. This will be one of those awakening moments.
There has been awakening.
Yes, there has been an
The
awakening.
dead speak. Oh wait, wrong one.
So Kyle Katarn, we all know who Kyle Katarn is, and for those of you who don't, Kyle Katarn stole the plans to the original Death Star. He got the plans to Mon Mothma. He was a
Mercenary, right?
Mercenary, yes. Now his co-pilot. You guys are gonna love this. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up a picture of her. You guys are gonna like flip when you see this. Okay, so share screen. Because you'll this is yeah.
I got us. Derek Amanda said the best bit was when the riders of Rohan saved the resistance.
Yeah, at the end. So
Yeah.
that's Jan Orris.
Mm-hmm.
And Jan Orris is Kyle Katarn's pilot that flies him around the galaxy.
And they have something in common, Loki. They died.
They died. They died. Jan Orris, Jyn Erso. May I present to you the prototype for the character in Rogue One, Jan Orris.
Mm-hmm.
Jan Orris is Jyn Erso. So what they did was they took, as Disney has done time and time again in the past, they cherry picked the EU and decided we're going to tell the story of stealing the plans to the Death Star. But instead of having a male do it, Kyle Katarn, we're going to have his wingman do it, Jan Orris or Jyn Erso. That way they do not have to pay anyone royalties, which Disney is currently being brought to court for doing that to a writer that we all know and love.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
This is all about getting past royalties, so they don't have to pay anybody. And if you don't know, Ethan Van Sciver got a huge, huge check, all because they used a certain prison. They used Blackgate Prison in Suicide Squad. He got a huge check from DC. Why did he get a huge check from DC? Because he created that.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
say what you want about DC, but they are pretty good with royalties.
yeah. So if you use someone's idea, and I think there's even like an article, you can't really see it. It's all fuzzy. Basically, they're the same person, guys. They are the exact same person. And that is an actual video. This is actual video they took. Yeah. Check
That was
this
back
out.
in the day when
Look at that.
when you had live action like compressed into the video game.
Yep. Live action video compressed into the video game. And look at that. Tell me they didn't just steal that. Before Jen Erso and Cassian Andor, there were Jan Orris and Kyle Katarn.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's only Jan Ors and Kyle Katarn. I don't know who those other people are.
Hey, Rogue One, that was good Star Wars, y'all.
It was good Star Wars.
It's the best that we've gotten as a feature film
from Disney
since I would say, all right. Unpopular opinion, perhaps. Rogue One is better than any prequel trilogy movie.
Yeah, agreed. I've watched Rogue One multiple times. I watched The Force Awakens multiple times, trying to like it.
So if that's true, then Rogue One's the best Star Wars film we've had since '83. Doesn't sound right, but it's true.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's still a good movie. There's still a lot of problems with it.
Oh yeah. You go into all the editing they did and everything.
Waste of Forrest Whitaker.
I definitely agree. The beginning of the movie had my head spinning. I got irritated. Like, where am I now? Like, what on earth is going on?
Oh no, these bad guys, they landed and they're coming. Why didn't they land? We're closer to the base. Why'd they park all the way over there and walk down this valley?
But Rogue One is kind of similar to the Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace is absolute crap, but the last 20 minutes of that film is good. Really good. When those doors open and Darth Maul's standing there, that's a great Star Wars scene.
It is.
Seeing Obi, but there are good parts even before that, because Qui-Gon's my favorite Jedi of all time. Qui-Gon Jinn is when I'm like thinking Jedi Master, I'm thinking Qui-Gon. And when Obi-Wan's arguing with him, if you'd only listen to the council, he's like, my young Padawan, one day you're going to learn that everything's not black and white and that you have to trust in the Force. And you've got this Obi-Wan that's like, why do I feel like we've taken on another pathetic life form?
I know why he's your favorite. It totally makes sense. Because Qui-Gon goes against the grain and he has sack.
Yep. Exactly. Coach gets it. Yes. He goes against the grain and he's got a sack. He's not afraid to be like, no, I'm going to do what I feel is right. I'm sorry, but I don't care if it goes against the council's wishes or not. You don't want me to train this boy? He's like, I can't train you, but you need to watch and be mindful of the things I do. He's training him anyway. And I honestly believe if Qui-Gon hadn't been killed, that Anakin would not have turned to the dark side. I honestly believe that if Qui-Gon had taught Anakin, he could have dealt with the things that Obi-Wan wasn't teaching him. Because Obi-Wan was a good teacher. He was. When it came to the Force, when it came to the Jedi, he was a good teacher. But when it came to understanding real life, he was pure Jedi, and Qui-Gon wasn't. Qui-Gon understood that there was a balance that must be maintained.
Well, and that ties into one of the biggest problems with the prequels overall. Ultimately, the prequels are a character study of Anakin Skywalker, but between 1 and 2, he's aged 10 years, so they could have just started from that point with Obi-Wan training Anakin, and that way we could have spent more time with their friendship, and we could have seen them love each other as brothers, basically. But instead, we're just told of these adventures that they're on.
Yep. Like when we fell into that nasty mess of gun dots, and I had to save you, Master.
We could have shown, like, the first movie should have just been them having an adventure. Then you introduce Padme, and you start to see like the hints of the dark side creeping in, and then you get the separation where he falls.
Did you guys see, I think it was 2 days ago, it hit the news that George Lucas said he was told, I don't know who he was told by. I didn't really dig into the news, but he was told by somebody that Jake Lloyd's portrayal of Anakin being a young child like that, would destroy the film.
Really?
Yeah, it was just the other day. If you do a Google search for Jake Lloyd, and hit news, it's going to be the first thing that pops up.
You know, there's a, since we were talking about that nasty mess of gun dots, and when Anakin says, "And I had to save you, Master," and Obi-Wan kind of chuckles and he's like, "Oh, right." You get the idea that Obi-Wan wasn't in any trouble. Obi-Wan was pulling a Yoda. Obi-Wan was never in any trouble. He let his Padawan do what a Padawan needed to do. He was training through, this is what you need to do to make it.
Mhm.
And at any point in time, Obi-Wan could have pulled out of that and been like, you know, and got himself out of it. But he let his Padawan do the things he needed to do.
Didn't Juhani's trainer also do that in Knights of the Old Republic?
Yes.
And you know what's funny, Loki, is that Obi-Wan is my favorite character in Star Wars.
Really?
So can you psychoanalyze me and say why?
Because he was a teacher and you're a teacher.
That's true. I have always, and I don't know why, but I have always enjoyed the role of the mentor. The older, wiser, like the I can't remember the character's name in Kroll, the old man. Merlin in Excalibur.
Yeah.
Just the older, wiser teacher that is instrumental in the process. That's the character that I have always enjoyed. You know why? Because that's the coach.
That's the coach. Yeah.
It's not the star. It's the person that has a great deal of influence in the direction we're headed. And yeah, that's Obi-Wan. Ben Kenobi has always been my favorite.
Old Ben Kenobi.
Yoda was always my favorite since he was short, just like I am. So there we go.
Oh, he had that front too. That cane was all the front. I am old, too old, you know, I am old. No. And guys, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here. I love talking. I love talking and get excited about Star Wars.
My pleasure.
No problem.
We don't have enough of that. That's why I love, guys. That's why I love going to Echo Base. That is why I love watching Echo Base. That is why I love when I get an opportunity to guest and hang out with Coach and Nick, because they love Star Wars the way I love Star Wars. And it doesn't matter what Disney has done. We can sit down and have a conversation about Star Wars and smile and laugh and get excited and have a good time.
Yep. Well, thank you for having me on, Josh. It was a pleasure hanging with you, brother.
Likewise,
And,
it was nice meeting you.
Thank you, chat, for having me and putting up with me.
And thank you, guys. Thank you for disagreeing with me too. Seriously, I know some of you were like, "No, Loki, I don't agree with you. Loki wouldn't be still turned evil." Cap, I think you were, guys. No, seriously, always go with your gut and trust your feelings. I'm not right on everything, and it is awesome that we sit down and have a discussion. And I completely agree with your point of view, and I still agree with my point of view, and we're not fighting to the death like Kirk and Spock on Vulcan. Da, 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 na, 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 na. Oh man. So guys, have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow. We will be back tonight to play some Doom Eternal. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I love Doom Eternal. We're gonna rip and tear. Purple Valkyrie and Loki will rip and tear through the hordes of hell later tonight. We've got the Valkyries coming up in 1 hour, folks. Do not miss their show. It is coming up in 1 hour. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We will be back tomorrow for our Star Trek STD review. What a way to start Thanksgiving.
What a wonderful way to start the holidays.
Yeah, I know. What a wonderful way to start the holidays. Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to throw out the short outro. I'm going to give you guys some Kratos. I'm not going to play the long outro today. I am working on something special, but it should be back tomorrow. Everyone have a great Thanksgiving, and we will catch you guys later.
Bye.
See y'all.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.